supports that argument.
The Alzheimer's Research Trust told Tonight, while the scientific evidence is not currently conclusive, it would consider funding research into a potential link. And for some of our European neighbours, the possible health risks from mercury are already too high. Last month, Sweden became the first EU country to ban all mercury products, including fillings. The Norwegians have done the same, and Denmark has phased out mercury amalgam, saying white fillings are just as durable. These countries cite environmental health reasons for their decisions. And it seems that across the Atlantic, there's fresh concern about a possible direct impact on health from dental amalgam.
So I travelled 3,000 miles west to the land of the perfect smile. Now here in America, the thinking is rather different when it comes to putting mercury in your mouth. Hey Jeff, how you doing?
Morland, Jeff Feingold, nice to meet you.
Nice
Welcome
to
to
meet you.
Maine.
Lovely shirt.
Thank you very much. I hear you're here to see us take care of a patient today.
Yeah.
State law says Dr. Feingold has to specifically spell out the scientific debate around mercury amalgam, or silver fillings as they call them here, to his patients.
While I talk to you about your choices, I'm going to give you this brochure.
Okay. Well, I see here it says something about the health concerns. Too much mercury can damage kidneys, nerves, and the brain. How much mercury is too much mercury?
That is a great question, and mercury can do that, but not the mercury that we're talking about in the silver fillings.
Despite the serious pitch, Dr. Feingold's patient is happy to stick with what she knows, mercury amalgam.
Do you resent that fact that you have to provide all your patients with this information, even though, as far as you're concerned, mercury is perfectly safe?
Whether I resent it or not is really not the issue. That's the law. I'm a licensed dentist in the state of Maine, and I'm a good citizen. I obey the law, and I do think it's good for them to have the choice.
But last summer, the US health regulator changed decades-old advice describing mercury amalgam fillings as harmless. It now says,
dental amalgams contain mercury, which may have neurotoxic effects on the nervous systems of developing children and fetuses.
A final decision on safety will be issued by the American authorities this summer, which, according to a leading anti-mercury campaigner, means controls on the use of amalgam could become far tougher.
I am convinced they will ban mercury fillings for pregnant women and children under a certain age. The people whose brains are the most affected from a neurological toxin, neurological means it affects the brain and nervous system, those people are children. Their brains are still developing. Not an old guy like me losing brain cells every day, but the children. And the question is, are we going to keep playing Russian roulette with the children in both of our countries?
As a parent, you're beginning to scare me.
I hope so. I hope so. I think every parent should ask that question. Do I want to put the third most toxic element into my child's mouth, regardless of what the doctor says? I am the parent. I'm the protector of the child, and toxins don't go into my child's body.
Mainstream dentists will say, look, there really isn't any scientific proof here. The risk is theoretical rather than real, and what you're doing is scaring people.
Mercury is toxic in every form. Mercury has been banned in our skin care, it's banned for animals, it's banned in medicines. Now, why is there a special exception? We're not scaremongering, we're trying to get dentistry to the same point that every other profession in healthcare got to decades ago, which is mercury-free healthcare. Nobody wants mercury around. Mercury fillings are headed to the dustbins of history, Moreland. They have to be.
We don't know what the American authorities will finally decide, but back in Dr. Feingold's surgery, it seems US dental patients may already be voting with their teeth.
Purely aesthetics. People want to look good. The white fillings certainly look great. They work well. People are into hygiene and looks and bleaching and whitening and whatnot, and for those reasons, I do mostly white fillings.
And so Americans are kicking the mercury habit for good. But speak to dentists and they'll say that's because people want to look great rather than any concerns about their health. And despite all the controversy, the American Dental Association is adamant that amalgam remains perfectly safe.
The American authorities looks like they're about to restrict the use for amalgam in pregnant women and children. Why can't we just do what they're doing, take that precautionary approach?
Well, interestingly, the limitation that you describe on pregnant women already exists here. We ask that patients tell their dentist if they're pregnant so that they can have an appropriate discussion about what the needs of their treatment are.
Why not just ban it?
Because there isn't evidence to support that stance.
But we do know that mercury can be passed from the pregnant mother to the fetus.
Yeah, there is research that, you know, if it's in the bloodstream.
So why take the risk?
Well, that's why we advise, wherever possible, to avoid that risk.
Yeah, you're saying the dentist should have a conversation.
Yeah.
I'm saying, why do you not just say, don't put it in pregnant women?
Well, the advice, where possible, if it's avoidable, is to avoid it.
That advice for pregnant women is echoed by all 4 UK departments of health. But with the science inconclusive, any further restriction on the use of mercury amalgam here seems unlikely.
Despite the fact that we've looked, we've never been able to find a case where the presence of fillings, and in some people's mouths lots of fillings, has actually caused a level of mercury which is of concern to somebody's general health.
However, the use of mercury amalgam is in decline, and the speed at which it disappears will depend on decisions made by us.
If you've got a choice, poison in the mouth or not poison, tough choice. Why do it?
For more information on tonight's programme, please go to itv.com/tonight. Coming up on Friday, will 2009 be the year for property bargains, or should buyers still beware? We show you the pitfalls to avoid and the remarkable prices being offered in Britain and abroad.
At the moment we're paying £930 a month for our rent. On our interest-only tracker mortgage, we'll be paying about £280 a month, so it's like a third of what we're currently paying, so it's going to be a big difference.
A number of casualties arrive following a suicide bombing, and the volunteers' skills are pushed to the limit. It's the last in a series of doctors and nurses at war, tomorrow night at 8. Never a dull moment where Becky's concerned. So she's left Jason. Now what? We're back in Corrie next.